Good morning, people. It's currently, well, what time is it? It's currently 3:02 a.m. in the morning for the 22nd of December, and today is my birthday. So yes, today on the 22nd of December is my birthday, but there's one thing to me that I'm quite sad. Now, allow me to share something with all of you, dear viewers. So, recently in Malaysia, we have been struck with heavy downpour where rain has been very heavy, and they're like over here in Tanjung Malim, it has been raining for 24 hours, like 1 or 2 days back. It was raining for consecutively, non-stop, 24 hours and plus extra few hours. It wasn't really that devastating over here because the sewage system has been working quite well, except for a few places in Tanjung Malim, in the Mualim area. Yes, it has started to flood. And the one thing that I wasn't really happy about within this particular month was how sudden the rain was and how bad it was for many places. So all throughout Malaysia, there have been many cases of riverbanks being overflowed by water to the point where housing areas have been submerged either halfway or nearly completely. And I am not really happy with a few things, which is one, the reactions that the people have towards the entire system. And number two is, well, me trying to support the flood relief, like the people who are actually conducting the flood relief, and I'm not able to do that perfectly yet. Now, these are the two things that I'm not really that happy. Now, allow me to explain. So, number one, the first thing that I wasn't really happy about was the people's reaction. So, right now, rain near the end of each year in Malaysia is always prone to cause floods. And this is now something that's not alien to the Malaysian community. We already know that every time near the end of the year, if it starts to have heavy rain, heavy winds, that's when you have to prepare for the worst, because that is the time when floods will always happen. And people who are in flood prone areas should take the time and consideration to actually prepare for a flood. However, I understand that even though with preparations, floods are very unpredictable, you can say, because even though it happens every year in Malaysia, you do not know when it strikes, and you do not know if it's just typical rain or if it's going to be a heavy one, because obviously rain in Malaysia is very common. Then when it comes to the flood, when suddenly the rain just poured on Malaysia for more than a day at some places, it caused floods that were very quick, and first responders were actually having a very hard time trying to provide aid for these people. And then obviously there is the debate between if the government is doing what they can to support the people, and then there are people saying, why are non-government organizations actually helping out the people more than the government? And there's that very long debate and very long topic that I do not wish to touch at the current moment, because it's not at my liberty to simply accuse rather than just sitting back and to analyze what is going on. I can say, however, that there are places where aid is very hard to get. Like there's this recent news where there's this local store, a Maidin store. We call the store Maidin because that's its name, and it has been broken into by people who were affected by the flood. However, the statement that actually was provided by the person in charge of Maidin, assuming if I remember correctly, so he said that he didn't want to actually charge anyone for robbery, because knowing the fact that it has been destroyed by the flood, like it is literally, people can swim in the water, it's really that deep. People are suffering because they are not getting the aid that they should be getting from the appropriate parties. So when that happened, he actually noticed that it was a very dire situation. It was an emergency, and he said that it's okay as long as you are taking the supplies for the sake of survival. That particular process of breaking into the store to get the food, even though it's not encouraged to do so, but he said that it's just for the people because everyone is suffering over there, and he truly understands the dire situation that the people are facing. Which brings me to the side where I do not really want to touch, but I'm just going to briefly say that there are certain parties that should have been responding to these people very well, and they should have done it in a quicker way. However, there were people that aided the victims much faster than these selected parties, and I do not wish to pinpoint and simply point out which particular party it would be, but then there are a few people who weren't really that happy and they've voiced it out online, which to me, I would like to say that there's always two sides of the coin. Okay, so yes, we know that some people are not providing the support that they should be giving to the people. However, we must also remember that there is already a system in place. It's just that because of the sudden rain, we have to give them the benefit of a doubt that the system, even though is right now undergoing the process of helping people, they need time to fully mobilize everything. Despite what it is, right now it's not the time to point fingers at who should be doing what. Instead, we should be uniting together. It doesn't matter if you are a part of the public, if you are a government or non-government servant, it doesn't really matter. Right now, the most important thing is to provide support and to provide help for those in need. Which is why I'm going to the second reason why I'm not really that happy. Number one, I was actually supposed to fully launch my Patreon page, and for today especially, this video that I'm recording right now is supposed to actually launch the Patreon page, and there is that one Patreon tab that you can actually help by providing $1. I'm sorry, Malaysians, it's not because I cannot put it in Malaysian ringgit, it's that the system has a few foreign currencies, including US dollar, but not the Malaysian ringgit. So I'm going to just give a rough conversion. So $1 equals to roughly 4 ringgit 50 cents. I'm just going to give a rough estimation, right? So for what I am planning to do, the goal that I posted in Patreon was I want to collect and receive donations, right? I want to receive donations of 1,000 US dollars. So it's a total of 4,000 plus Malaysian ringgit. And with that money, I want to actually spread it out across the selected areas. Not to say that I don't want to give it to every NGO that's helping flood victims. It's just that I want to provide those who are in dire need of monetary aid for support, like, you know, buying food, buying sanitary necessities, buying blankets, pillows, so that they can have a warm place to sleep, right? The victims, some of them lost their homes, they've lost their property, and they are now moved to temporary shelters. And not every temporary shelter has all of the necessities provided, because when it's very sudden, sometimes they do not have enough. And I actually noticed that some temporary shelters do not really have everything, and they are still awaiting for more supplies. So what I want to do is, as soon as possible, I actually wanted to launch this, which is why I wanted to do it on my birthday, because it's a noble thing, and I thought, like, why not? So I actually wanted to release and launch the platform today. However, trying to open a bank account now requires an appointment with the bank, meaning that I am not able to have a bank account open, hopefully open, until the 23rd, which is in another, like, considering today's the 22nd, within like tomorrow. So it's one day, yes, but then people, for every single day that they are suffering, I feel very bad and I feel very sad as well, because people are suffering. What like water is entering their house, destroying their property to the point where some places have water reaching nearly half of their house. They don't have a place to sleep, and aid in some places I've noticed that it was very slow, and some places have non-existent aid. So it's very hard to say on who's suffering more than the other, right? So I wanted to provide at least what I could at the moment as a form of support, right? And I wanted to have this like donation, like this fundraising initiative from myself and from the channel, of course. I wanted to actually raise some money for those victims because I'm pretty sure they are in dire need of it. Yes, I can personally go and buy the things that I obviously can buy. Like I can provide them food, I can buy things, and then I can ask someone to actually ship the food to those who are in need. However, rather than assuming what they need and when the thing arrives, it's not what they actually need at the moment. Like there are other supplies that are much more important at some areas. So that's where I felt like monetary aid is a bit better, because through donations, the NGOs or the people who are taking care of these people, the victims, right? They would know who and what to provide. So with the money, they can choose wisely what is supposed to be bought, what is supposed to be done with the money, rather than having something that is considered a surplus while they have other resources and supplies that are at a dire need of resupply. And that's the part where I'm a bit bummed out, because I'm not able to open up an account and settle in the PayPal that people can actually put in the money. And I don't know. This year has been rough for a lot of people. I have to agree with that. This year has been very rough. However, like I wasn't really expecting a lot of things to happen, especially near my birthday, right? Like yes, the rain has always happened near my birthday. It's never away. Like rainy season and my birthday has never been like apart. It has always been together. It's just that this particular year it has been a bit of a bummer for me, because I have so many things that I can do for people to help people. It's just that there are now extra hurdles that we have to jump because of the COVID endemic, and then you also have policies that we have to follow now because of the COVID-19 situation right now. So that's where this video comes in. It's not really a rant, it's just that I want to voice out that at the current situation and the current time in Malaysia, this is what's happening, and I really want to help. So consider this a very small rant on a few things that should have gone better and could have gone my way, but it didn't. But the main part and the main focus of this video is actually on the launch of my Patreon. It's a slight delay. Please give me a few more days so that I'm able to settle with the bank, get a new account so that you can at least feel at ease that the money is not going into my personal account but more into a business account, which is what I own, so that I can keep track of the money properly. And I want to settle all of that to get the Patreon running so that people can support the Patreon at the humanitarian aid section. There's a tab in there, humanitarian aid, and the payment is $1, so it's around like 4+ ringgit. And just to be very transparent, Patreon is something that goes through a subscription basis, if I'm not wrong. So when you are doing this on a monthly basis, it means that you're providing $1 every month for humanitarian aid. Now, I'm going to be very honest that once the flood is over in Malaysia, it doesn't mean that there are no more global issues and emergencies that people need humanitarian aid across the globe. Like, there's no such thing, right? So I was thinking, why not I can have this done on a longer term, and then for every single month, for the amount of money that I'm able to raise from that subscription, from your help, right? Because you guys are donating every month $1. Every time I have a goal that I will set for a certain party or a certain group of people to receive that money for obviously good use, I will post that in my social media like my Instagram and also my Patreon, this channel as well. And I might try to find a way to make short videos to promote my goals and also the purpose of me having a Patreon goal, right? Like what I'm collecting the money for. And obviously there are the other 3 tabs where you can support the channel for the content itself. So I haven't finalized the amount of money yet. So when I finalize the account and when I fully launch the Patreon, I will keep the money set and I won't change the rates anymore. Okay? But for humanitarian aid, I promise you it will never change. It will only be $1. And I hope that those of you who are watching this video can keep this video tabbed, save this video, give it a like, share it with other people, because the main purpose is for me to raise money for those who are in need. Because some people are less fortunate at the moment and they really need support. And I cannot do it alone without your support. So dear viewers, I am begging all of you who are watching this video to not skip this video. It's already the end anyway. But I want you to actually provide support for the people who are in need right now. There are people who are requesting and they are in a state of emergency because they're requesting aid and they need it right now. With the hurdles that I'm going to jump through, I hope that you can support my initiative and come together with me as a community, and we can actually help not only Malaysians, but hopefully in the future as the Patreon grows and as the channel grows as well, I want to help people not only in Malaysia but around the world. I want to make a change and I cannot do it alone. I want your help and I provide as much as I could, and I will keep you guys up to date so that as a community we will know the change that we have actually done for the betterment of people and the betterment of a community. So yeah, I hope that this video is somewhat an inspiration for you to get some form of help towards the people in need. My name is Raymond from the Viewfinder channel, and I hope within the next few days I can start seeing people donating for a greater good, for mankind and for humanity. I would like to end this video with a note that to all of you who are facing problems and facing a state of emergency right now with the flood in Malaysia, our prayers are with you and our support and help is on the way. So please hang on, because it's hard right now, but then I assure you that what we're doing now will arrive in your hands and you will actually receive the help that a lot of us promise. So please take care, stay safe, and for those of you who are not affected by the pandemic or not affected by the floods right now in Malaysia, please stay safe, and till we meet again, goodbye.